of 800 billion to 1.2 trillion dollars a year. You know, money laundering, drug money laundering, very fundamental. You know, J.P. Morgan does that on behalf of the U.S. military, and the fact of the matter is that the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, who is the President of the United States, has seen fit to have the U.S. military personnel have a salary which requires the military personnel to take food stamps. Yeah. U.S. military personnel are on the food stamp line. And all these poor men and women, they're sent to Afghanistan and various other places in order to further the narcotics trafficking of the U.S. military. And there are more suicides in the U.S. military than there are personnel killed in combat. And that tells you a lot right there. So that's, you know, so these military are just expendable, you know, they're just so much fodder for the war machine, which garners incredible amount of profit for this deep state. Because really that's what the deep state is all about. It's all about personal gain, you know, so they can have their $50 million 200-foot yachts, to mention one of their toys that they like to buy. The deep state needs the nation to survive, but the nation does not need the deep state to survive. It doesn't. The fact of the matter is, the deep state is a major parasite. You know, it's a vermin. It's the people that populate the deep state are vermin. You know, they are parasitical people. And they're parasite. What would be the right verb for that? They're feeding off the U.S. taxpayer. And that's what they're doing. And now he says something which is really interesting, and what the deep state cares about most, the U.S. dollar, that's its value. Water, no, they don't care about water. Energy, yeah, they care about energy. I mean, that's what the Ukraine thing is all about, that whole, you know, gas pipelines. Who controls that? Whether it's going to be Gazprom or Chevron or Exxon or one of these oil companies, and access to those commodities, minerals, alliances, sea lanes. So the point is, he does not believe that the US dollar is going to plummet in value, which is actually very hard for me to understand that he does not believe that, because the evidence is, if you yourself actually go out and pay for your groceries and you keep a record of how much you've spent on your groceries over the past 6, well, in my case 7 years, there's no question that the dollar is being devalued, because the price of everything has gone up. And that's known as cost-push inflation, as a result of inflation, which is actually a monetary phenomenon, you know, too much money being printed. You know, vapor money, what I call vapor money, you know, this electronic bits and bytes, which are masquerading as dollars. And, you know, computer data entries. And that's how it's all run. It's all run on vaporware, vapor money. And, you know, I mean, everything has gone up in price. It doesn't matter. I mean, everybody's had the experience of stuff that they normally buy were 10 years ago cost, like, for instance, I like tamales, organic tamales. And I eat them for lunch pretty much every day. Well, and I've been doing that for a long time. And when I first started buying them, it was probably about 15 years ago, I guess. And I buy the same brand today, you know, in the Bay Area. And they used to cost, for 4 tamales, you used to get a package of 4, they used to cost around $5.50. Now they're nearer to $12 and they're smaller. And everybody's had that experience. You know, you buy whatever it is you buy, you find that you're paying either the same amount of money or more, and the package is smaller. I mean, that's just obviously been going on all over the place, right? So the fact of the matter is, they don't. It's not. I don't think it's a question, because really, the rest of the world, it appears that the rest of the world, especially the what's it called, the that Eurasian bloc of China and Russia and the Turkmenistan and all that area, the whole area there, they're accumulating gold like crazy. The Turkey, the Iran, they're accumulating gold like crazy. I mean, Jim Willie said this week that he thinks that China has amassed 15,000 tons of gold, right? And officially, quote unquote, the official numbers say that the American Treasury, that is the people of America, allegedly hold 8,000 tons of gold, and that's supposed to be the highest amount of any country. Whereas, and he says the Russians probably have 20,000 tons of gold, and from what he says, his sources indicate that they have, well, it's already in place, a currency system based on gold as the collateral. So if you don't have gold, you don't have anything. And of course, silver will be along for the ride. That's for sure, because gold and silver, and it has to be a bimetallic regime. So he doesn't seem to understand that, because the thing is with him, like a lot of American analysts, commentators and whatnot, is that they're very ethnocentric. They just confine their stuff to what's happening in America as far as the deep state's machinations are, and they don't really pay attention to what's going on in the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is fundamentally, in many respects, regarding the federal government as a rogue government. And so with that in mind, I'll just read this thing from tonight. This is from tonight. This is a guy puts out his, he's got a blog called Jesse's Crossroads Cafe.blogspot.com. And he talks about this, that, and I'm just going to do one small quote, which are a few quotes here from this particular piece that he put out tonight or today, this during the course of the day. He's talking about what John Kerry, who's the Secretary of State, he's just another shill. And he said we're acting like a poor nation. The fact of the matter is, Jim Willie has been saying for many, many, years now, that the U.S. is being deliberately driven into a state that can be considered only as a third world country, deliberately. And what they want to create here, the deep state does, is a third world totalitarian regime. And that we are already a third world nation. And the quote is here: with widespread corruption, declining press freedom, a crumbling infrastructure, and an alarming concentration of power in a few hands, a few powerful families. Both political parties are owned by the same elite class and are essentially the same corporate-sponsored products. The Republicans and the Democrats. They are just different brands with different target markets. Welcome to our brave new world. And so the question is, as I said, there's no doubt that the nation state is digging its own grave post haste right now, and it's very, very evident. And at least it is to me. And so the thing is what's the situation? Why is this happening? And of course, I've talked about the spiritual reasons behind it to some degree. Not a lot yet, but I will be getting into that. And it all comes down to, in my reading of this, is that it's a question of drug addiction. It's really what it boils down to. Okay, and when I mean drug addiction, I mean the use and abuse of drugs of all kinds, including pharmaceuticals and vitamins, which are drugs, as well as heroin, cannabis and methamphetamines and cocaine and alcohol. And I put a piece on my timeline of my Facebook page, and I got this out of I think it was the same guy. I think it was Charles Hugh Smith that put this out too. No, it was Michael Snyder of the American Dream blog. So cool. Must be kind of like a ironic, because there is no American dream. It's an American nightmare. And I said here, why a macrobiotic way of eating will never become mainstream. So the quote goes, it turns out that dealing drugs is extremely profitable. The 11th largest pharmaceutical companies combined to take in approximately $85 billion in profits in 1 year, 2012. In America today, doctors are trained that there are just two potential solutions to any health problem. Either you prescribe a pill or you cut someone open. Surgery and drugs are pretty much it. The only choices that they offer. And an endless barrage of television commercials have trained all of us to think that there's a pill for every problem. In fact, the fact of the matter is the pharmaceutical industry invents pills, or rather they manufacture pills for which they create a problem. They do that. So he goes on here. Are you in pain? Take a pill. Are you feeling blue? Just take a pill. Do you need a spark in your marriage? Just take a pill. And interesting, that testosterone thing. I notice TV. I watch a lot of sport on TV. With the sound off, I might add. Listen to music. And but what's happening lately is all these commercials where, the testosterone boosters are being promoted. And at the same time, you're getting commercials from law firms saying that if you have a loved one who took testosterone boosters and they had, heart attack, seizures, blood clots, or died, please contact us. And you see them right at one after the next. You see them right next to each other in this commercial. And none of these pills are safe. No, I've already said that in earlier edition of the Mobuku Chronicles, where 3,500 people are killed every week in America alone as a result of taking their drugs. According to the manufacturers, not trying to commit suicide.